Welcome to Channel 18 News. I'm Jim Rogers. Scattered to numerous thunderstorms are possible across the entire region this Friday night and into Saturday morning. Heavy rainfall and flash flooding will be the primary hazards, especially northwest of a Comanche to Cleburne to Silver Springs line, which includes a flash flood watch in effect. A few strong to marginally severe storms are possible Friday. Gusty downburst winds will be the primary hazard. The flash flood watch continues until 1 p.m. on Saturday. 4 Tennessee men are in Hopkins County Jail following a Thursday afternoon pursuit that traveled at speeds in excess of 120 miles per hour and extended from the I-31 131 mile marker to a pasture east of State Highway 19 and north of Farm to Market Road 1536. When stopped by DPS Corporal Josh Banta, a black Chrysler 300 had a strong odor of marijuana. The driver, John Lorenzo Brown, age 30 of Memphis, Tennessee, and the other occupants were asked to exit the vehicle. Banta told the occupants he could smell the marijuana. He asked the men to exit the vehicle, and when they did, they denied having anything in the vehicle. DPS Sergeant David Reynolds had arrived at the scene, and he asked for the key fob to the vehicle. All four immediately got into the vehicle and attempted to drive off. Sergeant Reynolds tased the driver, Brown. All occupants again exited the vehicle. However, one passenger, Latarian Clark, age 21 of Memphis, Tennessee, ran back to the vehicle and entered the back seat and then over into the front and fled the scene in the vehicle. According to Tanner Crump with the Hopkins County Sheriff's Office, when Clark jumped back into the auto, he sped away to Highway 67 near Saltillo. The trooper lost sight of the vehicle, but another trooper saw it shortly after that on I-30 westbound. Hopkins County criminal investigator Corley Weatherford was westbound and took up the pursuit of the vehicle. Jumping the ditch to 67 again, the driver made his way to 19 North with Weatherford in pursuit. Joining the pursuit at that time was Silver Springs Police Department's Mark Estes. Now, Estes, Weatherford, and a DPS trooper were in pursuit. Clark was fleeing the scene when into the ditch about a quarter of a mile north of FM 1536 and Highway 19 North intersection. A foot race began through the pastures in that area. The race ended when the man fleeing encountered Sammy Weaver of the Cooper Park Police, who is also a retired Silver Springs police officer. Weaver stopped the man at gunpoint and held him there until the other members of law enforcement arrived. Crump said that he was thankful for the four-way stop sign at Birthright. No officer or law enforcement vehicle sustained injury in the high-speed chase. Crump said he had no reports of any accidents at the stop sign since they have been installed. The four arrested and in Hopkins County Jail include John Lorenzo Brown, age 30 of Memphis, charged with unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon. Latarian Clark, age 21 of Memphis, Tennessee, charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon and evading arrest with a vehicle. Quishan Hampton, age 19 of Nashville, Tennessee, charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon and evading arrest. And Cordarius Childs, age 24 of Memphis, Tennessee, charged with carrying a weapon and evading arrest.
On Saturday, September 29th, the first of its kind Yantis Prairie Day, and it will be held at the Yantis School from 2 to 5 p.m. and the public is invited. There is an outdoor classroom to study prairie ecosystem that has been installed at Yantis. Let's meet Casey Rhodes, who is not only a homeschool student, but part of the Treehouse Homeschool School.
Well, Yantis Prairie Day is coming up next Saturday, September 29th, and this is a poster for it if you see it anywhere. And this is an opportunity for any landowners, family, residents to learn about prairies and the importance for the community.
Okay. Casey, you are a homeschool student. Tell us about your schooling.
So I am homeschooled most of the time. So on Mondays we're at home, and then some of the other days of the week we go to this school called the Treehouse.
Okay.
And there we take classes like Pieces of the Globe, which is a geography class, and a science class called STEAM. We take different classes there.
Okay. It's wonderful. I love the treehouse, and we're going to be learning more about it next week as some more different students come in.
That's right, for writing. Yes.
So Casey is interested in habitat for things like butterflies, bees. You've already expressed this in an interview with us earlier. Come closer to your microphone and tell us just a little bit more about how you first got interested in habitat.
So it kind of all started when my family attended a tagging program at the State Fair of Texas. And after that, I thought that maybe I wanted to raise a monarch butterfly in captivity. So we went on a walk and we found some eggs on milkweed plants in our pastures. And we collected them and raised them in a hydroponics tank. And then when it was time to release the butterfly, I asked my mom the question, I wonder if we can go to Mexico to see their monarchs in their wintering habitat. And then this resulted in a February trip with my entire family and some friends to Mexico, where we saw the monarchs in their wintering habitat.
Wow.
And we came back from Mexico, and I wanted to learn more about this butterfly. So then I asked the mayor to sign the Monarch Mayor Pledge, which is a pledge that mayors all over the United States have signed. And they pledged to make their town more monarch friendly. And by doing this, you have to choose an action item on a list.
Like leaving the milkweed plants instead of mowing them down? Maybe would be one.
One of the other ones that I chose was hosting a day or an event, like Prairie Day is going to be, for the monarch butterfly and its habitat. So that's basically what Prairie Day is.
Okay. Yantis Prairie Day is coming up when?
On September 29th.
Which is a Saturday?
Yes.
Okay. And time and place?
From 2 to 5 at the Yantis Elementary
Yes.
cafeteria.
Okay.
And at 5 o'clock, we will have, so from 2 to 5, there will be a lot of different speakers from Texas Parks and Wildlife, U.S.
Okay.
Fish and Wildlife. There will be the Wood County beekeepers will be there, as well as some other beekeepers, Texas Gold Honey, and lots of hands-on activity, face painting for the kids, so families should come out. Lots of families in Wood County have property and may want to know how they can convert some of their property to the tall grass prairie, which there's only 1% left, as well as maybe even doing pollinator gardens. So they don't have to do something big. Everybody can do something small. And at 5 o'clock, there will be a dedication of the Prairie Community Classroom, which Ms. Maddox has donated.
This is what we want to find out about. It just so happens, Julie, if I'm correct, a piece of property adjacent to the Yantis School is now going to be a prairie.
It's going to be our Northeast Texas Prairie Community Classroom. Is that right?
That is right.
It's a big mouthful.
And so, did you own this piece of property?
Yes, I have owned that piece of property for a number of years, but adjacent to that, I have approximately 60 acres that I'm now involved with Texas Parks and Wildlife in a prairie restoration program. I'm into our third year on what we call our Phase 1 for our first 20 acres, and into our second year on an additional 38 acres. And what I'm going to talk about at Prairie Day is if you do into a program like this, or even if you don't, you just want to do this on a small scale, what you can expect, because it's everything you can imagine plus more, and everything you don't imagine plus more. And my main focus, or Texas Parks and Wildlife, for our property, is the grassland birds.
Okay.
And they are losing lots of their habitat here, and most of that is due to exotic grasses and haying and
the
grazing
things we
practices.
plant. Hold up pictures as you like, as you go through briefly to tell us a little bit more for a couple of minutes. You've had the property for a while. You've probably wanted to do something, but maybe didn't know what.
Well, that's correct. I did not know what to do, and in my former life, when I was working, I had the privilege of working all over the United States with other professionals like botanists and biologists.
Wow.
And I started to learn about the prairie ecosystem and just how complicated and diverse that it is. It's in fact, it's the most complicated and diverse ecosystem on the planet, second to only the Brazilian rainforest. And like Debbie said earlier, we only have 1% of that left. And in all of my career, working all over the country, I had never seen a tall grass prairie.
Wow. I have never heard of a tall grass prairie. Of course, I knew we lived on a prairie in the Post Oak Savanna, especially on the other side of Hopkins County.
Well, the tall grass prairie covered this whole area. And since our settlers have come in and moved into the area, that's slowly been eroding away. But some of these grasses are over 6 feet tall. That's historically what was here.
Wow.
It's just an amazing ecosystem.
I'm looking at Raleigh roads and Sydney roads. We didn't introduce them, but I'm glad that you're here this morning. There are also students, homeschool students and treehouse students.
Yes.
I'm thinking of the covered wagons as they went west. We know they went through oceans of grass, but I had never pictured it being as tall as a wagon.
Some of these grasses can get 6, some of them 8 feet tall. And what's amazing about our tall grass prairie is when you look at, say, a 6 foot tall switchgrass out in your prairie, you're only seeing 1/3 of that plant. 2/3 of it is just like an iceberg. It's all below.
I see.
Some of these native prairie grasses can take 8 inches of water in an hour.
And they sustained all kinds of major wildlife.
Yes.
And still could, except we, in our efforts to improve, may be obliterating the prairies.
Yes, and I think it slowly is happening. You know, you live in one place and you drive by and things kind of change slowly. But for me, when I was working and being gone for long periods of time and coming back, I could see we're starting to lose many of our open lands, tall grass prairies, and I decided it was time to take some action.
We really need a lot longer to talk than we will have in this 15 minutes. We have about 6 minutes left. On the Yantis Prairie Day, September 29th, Julie, you'll be speaking to the public.
Yes, I'll be talking about my experience of working with Texas Parks and Wildlife and all the wonderful people that they are there to help you in your prairie restoration. There's cost incentives. They pay for the herbicide and provide all the seed and a no-till drill. You just supply all your hard labor. And they help you with this, and you were in a 10-year program. Takes a long time for our native grasses to come back, but they're there to help, and they're just wonderful folks.
You had, among your many pictures, one of a before and after of a prairie.
Here, Casey.
So that's today.
That's before.
Okay.
That would be in 2015.
This is your property.
That's my property, and that's what it's starting to look like today.
Okay. We might think that this is what it looked like before, and then it was improved to a hay meadow. Some people may think that way.
Yes.
Pictures of the
And you're bringing it back to, and this is similar to what the, is it a 5-acre plot that is called now the classroom?
Yes, the students will be participating in planting our prairie.
Okay.
And also with native flowers and forbs and some bird houses, and they'll be able to use my property, my 60 acres, also for
that's lovely.
Reference.
Native Texas flowers there.
This is an amazing opportunity for the students. We're so grateful to Julie for doing this. Because without this, a lot of schools, particularly in Yantis and the Treehouse, wouldn't have an opportunity to have a real outdoor classroom like this for hands-on activities to understand native animals, native fauna, flora, and their ecosystems around them.
It is amazing that we have this now right here at Yantis ISD. Please come on September 29th from 2 to 5 and find out more. A whole bunch more. You look very joyful, Julie, to be able to do this for the community and the students.
I'm very passionate about it, and it's important. It's important to our Texas heritage. This is what was here before. We're slowly losing many of our grassland birds. A lot of people wonder, hey, where's the quail?
Do you have pictures of birds there that might have been affected?
This is a bird that needs a tall grass prairie. This is a northern harrier. They're just a joy to watch when they work a field and hunt. We now have bobwhite quail on the place. We also have many of our native sparrows that actually nest in the Arctic that are coming down and spending the winter on the property.
And that brings me to ask, is it time for the monarchs to come through, Casey?
Yes, it is. So right now, we're about to enter the fall migration, and that is when they are going down to Mexico.
Okay.
So you should start seeing a ton of monarchs coming down. And so if you have milkweed plants on your property, do not mow them because that is the monarch's only host plant.
If we were going to leave our milkweed plants up, how long do we need to leave them up? Like if we were just going to do it for a while and then mow?
At least leave them up till November.
Okay. Thank you for saying that because that helps a person. Maybe it takes a while for people to change over to a better way of doing things. I know we like everything looking all mowed and nice and neat, but the monarchs really need those milkweed plants, and they're not the only butterfly, and it's not the only plant.
That's right. There's lots of other pollinator plants that are available to the monarch, and anything that you can plant in your garden, making sure that they are away from pesticides, any kind of insecticides as well, because you don't want to kill the butterflies that you're trying to attract. But for sure, the milkweed plants, the antelope horn variety of milkweed, is the native variety that will grow in pastures. You can plant it as seed, you cannot buy it as a plant. Okay. It looks like, in flower, it looks like this.
Okay.
And people, if they find it on their property, can look, and they might, beginning in October, be able to see eggs and little caterpillars, and that is the monarch. They will fly down and they will find the plant. Even if there's just one or two in a pasture, it's amazing. They'll find it.
Wow.
And they'll lay their eggs on it, and the whole cycle will begin.
So a little bit of help can really go a long way.
A long way.
As a start. Please get started and do something. And find out more. Where can they go online to find out more?
Well, eventually, Casey has made a beautiful video presentation about the monarch, and after Prairie Day, we'll post that on YouTube.
Okay.
Monarch Watch and Journey North have a lot of information about the monarch and migration and how people can get involved. They have free milkweeds that are available that you can have sent to you, and you can also buy seed. Native American Seed Company, which is a Texas-based company, sells seed of milkweed plants and the right kind of pollinator plants for our hummingbirds, bees, and butterflies. So look into that.
Okay.
So there's a lot you can do.
This is just fascinating. Julie, thank you for what you have done and are doing. Casey continues to study, and she's the one who really carries the kind of the flagship for us in learning a new way. First, we have to get okay with there being a new way, and then we have to start actually promoting it ourselves.
Yes.
Thank you, Debbie, for all you're doing too in homeschooling and helping with our students.
Oh, you're welcome.
Looking forward to seeing that outdoor classroom.
It'll be fun.
Okay. Thank you all for coming in this morning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Here's Don Julian with sports.
Wildcats football team is 3-0 for the season, 2-0 in district play after a 28-10 district win in Royce City on Thursday night. That game was delayed for nearly an hour near the end of the first quarter by lightning. A strong first quarter for the Wildcats fueled the win. On their second drive, the Bulldogs fumbled and Wildcats outside linebacker D.Q. Pitts recovered. The Wildcats then drove 33 yards for a touchdown. Quarterback DeCorian Young threw an 8-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Landry Tyson. Wildcats led 7-0 at the 5:38 mark of the first quarter. Bulldogs fumbled again on their next drive, and Wildcats cornerback Damian Dugan recovered. This time, the Wildcats drove 44 yards for a score. On 4th and 2 from the Royce City 20, Jermon Bryant Amos, the Wildcats back in the jumbo package, took the shotgun snap and went through a gaping hole in the Royce City defense for a 20-yard touchdown run, and the Wildcats led 14-0 in the first quarter. Later, Wildcats punt returner Austin Dodd took a punt back 80 yards for a touchdown. Wildcats led 21-0 with just 1 second left in the first quarter, and at that point both the teams were sent to the locker rooms due to the lightning. After the game resumed with the score 21-10 in the fourth quarter, the Wildcats put the game away with one more score, completing a 66-yard touchdown drive. 4th and 25 from the Bulldogs' 26. Young rolled to his right and threw a perfect strike to receiver Dodd in the end zone. The Wildcats will have a bye next Friday, and they will be returning to action on Friday, October 5th against Forney at Gerald Prim Stadium. And by the way, Austin Dodd was named our KSST Sports MVP for the Wildcats game against Royce City Thursday night in Royce City. And again, Dodd returned that punt 80 yards for a touchdown. He had an interception during the game and also caught that touchdown pass on that last Wildcat score. And so Austin Dodd, MVP for the Royce City game. We like to name one of those after every game this year. And finally, in sports news, former Sulphur Springs basketball star Victory Walker has committed to the University of Oklahoma. The news was reported earlier this week by Rivals.com. The 6'7", 230-pound Walker had offers from colleges all over the country. Walker played at Sulphur Springs for 3 years. He played on the Wildcats varsity for 2 years, and before that spent 1 year playing for the Wildcats JV. He and his family moved to the Waco area during the summer before his senior year in high school.
Thanks for watching Channel 18 News. Have a great evening.
5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1.
1 minute, 52 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Our score, Wildcats 14, Bulldogs 0 here at Royce City Independent School District Stadium. And the Cats really doing a great job defensively and offensively here tonight.
Yeah, they've recovered, defense has recovered 2 fumbles. Wildcats went 44 yards on that after that last fumble. And again, that was a 4th down play, 4th and 2, that Jermon Bryant Amos scored on that 20-yard touchdown run right up the middle with that jumbo package in there. I have not seen him back there running. I expected to see usually who they had in there, with the jumbo package. But there was Jermon Bryant Amos. I think that's a new wrinkle. I'll have to confirm that with Coach Owens. I almost said Coach's Show tomorrow. We're going to have to wait till Saturday and get Coach Owens on the Coach's Show. He may petition me to try to do it Friday morning at 9.
I doubt it.
Because he probably would like to. Well, he's got an off week. What the heck?
Yeah, it's not going to hurt him. Having to hold the ball, it blew off the tee a couple of times, so now we're going to hold it down here with Ponce holding the ball for a kick.
Quarterback, Noe Ponce, the backup quarterback, holding for Zavala. And he approaches and kicks the ball down the field. This one in the center of the field, and Royce City will get a run back across the 20 to the 25, and across the 30, and across the 35, still going across the 40, and all the way up around the 45-yard line with one of those good return men for Royce City that they had back deep. And we'll try to, getting up off the ball there is Trell Johnson. He's a cornerback who took a interception all the way back for a touchdown against Garland, a pick 6. I think his name's Quantrell, but they call him Trell. So I talked to Coach Petroff about him. So he got that was a kick into kind of the teeth of what Royce City would like to do. They had one of their big 3 got a hold of it there. First down and 10 from the 45-yard line. And once again, the quarterback jammed up. The Wildcats tackle everything back there. There's it's kind of a rugby scrum there breaking out, but loss of yardage on the play.